Welcome back to Beagle Eye Vision. I just found that song today. It's fantastic. That's a fantastic song. But before we get started, it is a legend's birthday today. At the time of this recording, it is September 2nd. Happy birthday to Hoser, the front man, the myth, the legend of Squared Off. So I'm going to play some Squared Off in the background here. Because it's freedom-oriented music, and you know we're all about that over here at Beagle Eye Visions. Welcome. It is the first of the month. It is what, September? It's October, right? October 1st. That's why we are doing H.P. mother-sucking Lovecraft. This guy is a legend. Speaking of legends, give a shout out to H.P. Lovecraft. H.P. Lovecraft, I freaking love you. What a man! I freaking legend. Legend. All right. So, welcome back. Welcome back. Actually, I want to give a shout out to the Sound Path to Freedom Music Festival that happened August 31st. Another shout out. I know I gave him a shout out in the last book review, but it was such a beautiful event. It was a very emotional event. Like when the country singer, I'm so embarrassed I forgot her name. There was a country singer that told a story about how her husband knows a military vet, and she played this song for the vet, and it was a beautiful story. It was a beautiful weekend. Beagle Eye Visions is here. Can I get started, Squirt? Thank you. I got Squirt Dog and Snoop Dogg here babysitting. Picklehead just went to work. So anyways, here's the notes. H.P. Lovecraft month of October. So this month's story I did on the Temple, and it was this is like, I used to write a lot of short stories when I was younger, and this is why part of the reason why I love H.P. Lovecraft, because short stories are, you know, they're short and sweet and to the point and beautiful and amazing, and depending on the author, you know, the author could really, like, H.P. Lovecraft is very descriptive. He's just like, who's the guy who did Lord of the Rings? J.R.R. Tolkien. Like, very descriptive writer, and the way that he writes is very flawless. Like, it has a flow, like Conrad Ragos. Shout out to Conrad Ragos, also a legend. H.P. Lovecraft has a beautiful flow to it, and for those of you who have already read his stories and just checking this out for the fun of it, you know what I'm talking about. Beautiful, beautiful flow. Anyways, the Temple, H.P. Lovecraft's The Temple, the longest story of Lovecraft's early career. The Temple was apparently written in the latter half of 1920, possibly August 20th, a date cited in the tale, and Lovecraft's 30th birthday. It is married by somewhat clumsy and obvious satire against the German protagonist of the tale, and also a plethora of supernatural details that do not seem to fuse into a unity. But its portrayal of the narrator's gradual descent into madness is powerful. It was the first of Lovecraft stories not to appear in an amateur journal prior to its publication in a professional venue. Its first appearance was in Weird Tales. The history on Weird Tales alone is fascinating. If you want to go down that rabbit hole, check out the history of the Weird Tales magazine, because it's very interesting. Weird Tales, September 1925, and that was a direct quote from this Barnes & Noble edition of H.P. Lovecraft's work. Somebody gifted one of my ex-girlfriends gifted this book to me, but you can still buy it at all Barnes & Nobles for like 20 bucks. You can get every single story that H.P. Lovecraft has ever produced, signed, sealed, and delivered in this book, including even like really short stories. Like, there's a short story that's like half a page, and again, it's so good. It's one of my favorite short stories. Maybe I'll do that if I get bored throughout this month, but I'm acquiring employment again, so I don't know if I'll have time, or probably I might have the time, but maybe not the energy, right? The Temple. Before the tale begins, I found out H.P. Lovecraft's work is in public domain, which is a fun fact. When somebody's work is in public domain, for those who do not know, when something goes into public domain, you can alter the story and basically customize it and recreate it in any form or fashion that you want. Like Mickey Mouse has been big. Like it just entered, Mickey Mouse just entered public domain. Mickey Mouse and Winnie the Pooh have both entered public domain. So that's why you see a lot of these cheesy B-movie style horror movies on the streaming platforms, because of the domain. So you have these movie directors and these story writers taking the story of Mickey Mouse and like turning them into a murderous villain, which is, you know, Disney already does a fantastic job of being a murderous villain in real life. So the fact that these guys are making B-movie horror movies about, you know, Mickey Mouse being evil, it's like, you don't have to do that. Mickey Mouse is already wicked as it is. But anyways, enough of that rant. The entire tale is a manuscript. So when you come across this story in the book, it literally says this is a manuscript found on the coast of Yucatan. I hope I'm saying that correctly. The idea that the reader comes across this story as if it's a message in a bottle is absolutely genius to me, and it makes you feel like you're reading some sort of, you know, it makes you feel like you're reading some sort of classified document, or like that you found this message in a bottle yourself, and you're you know, just uncovering the story. You know, it's absolutely genius. It builds the atmosphere. You know, before the story even starts, you're like, whoa, like I have chills just even talking about it. Where was this manuscript found? We probably found this manuscript somewheres in the high seas of the Sea of Thieves. You know what I'm saying? Somewhere over the high seas of the Sea of Thieves. Sorry, I had to get a drink. Wow, I just dropped W on my camera. Just like the last book review, I dropped W all over my notebook. But anyways, don't shake the camera. German Navy Lieutenant Commander Karl Heinrich is in charge of the submarine, the U-29, location north latitude 20 degrees, west longitude 35 degrees. The U-29 is disabled at the bottom of the ocean. So on June 18th, 1917 is a fantastic movie, by the way. Let me give a shout out to 1917. If you haven't watched that movie, go check it out. If you're into war movies, I guess it's fantastic. Great allegory. Great allegory. The U-29 reported it sunk British freighter Victory. That's the name of the British freighter Victory. By way of torpedo. The crew had a camera that recorded the ship sinking for documentation. That's right when the story begins. Once the sub resurfaces around sunset, they find a seaman's body hanging onto the submarine. The crew searches the body to find a bizarre piece of ivory that appears to be in the shape of a child's head crowned with a laurel. Moving the body to toss overboard, the sailors' eyes of the cadaver shoot wide open. The eyes just like once the body was in the water, the boatswain Mueller, the boatswain's character name in the book is named Mueller. A boatswain is a warrant officer or petty officer in charge of ship's rigging, anchors, cables, and the deck crew. I had to look that one up, by the way. Oh, that's another thing. When you read H.P. Lovecraft, make sure you got a dictionary next to you. I mean, if you want to be a lazy scumbag, you could always use your smartphone too. If you want to use your smartphone and you don't want to actually learn anything. Actually, if you're using a smartphone to look up definition of words, don't even read the book. Just make sure you have a dictionary. Okay? Because when you use a dictionary and you look up the word, you always remember what the word is. Like, you retain the information a lot more because you're putting in work and labor to open up a dictionary. You're not just typing it, hey Google, what's the definition of a boatswain? Google, you know, hey Siri. Anyways, had to look that word up. The boatswain. My phone hurt me. What? Anyways, where was I at? The boatswain Mueller claims that when the body sunk a few feet under the water, the body picked its limbs up and started swimming to the south. Okay, now I'm gonna go on a rant here because can you imagine? Okay, imagine you're on a boat, right? This isn't a Hollywood produced movie that has sound effects and music. Imagine you're just on this crew of a submarine. You and your crew are taking the body over. First of all, it's just like silence. There's no jump scares, right? Like a movie. If this were a movie, as soon as his eyes would open, it would make like a sharp dun. Like, you know, it would be like kind of a jump scare, right? It would be like dun. It would be kind of annoying and produced. When you read the story, it's not like that. So you imagine, like you're just using your imagination. First of all, like silent, the crew, you hear the noise of the crew working, the sound of the waves, and then you're taking care of this body and his eyes just crack open. That'd be horrifying. And then imagine you hear the sound of the body going over the water and you're just standing there watching the body. You know, just silence. You hear the sound of the waves. There's nobody shooting cannons or launching guns. It's just the silence of the waves. You guys are doing your work. And then just picture you watching this body sink a few feet under the water, and then the body gets animated and starts swimming towards the bottom of the ocean. Can you imagine, like, that'd be so creepy. Oh my god, I would quit. I'd be like, let's go back home right now. This is no, I'm out, Captain. Shoot me, Captain. I'm not working with this. I'm trying not to cuss, but hell no, get me out of here, Captain. But anyway, so moving on. Squirt! I love you. Squirt dog. Alright. Okay, so the vessel has another mission of intercepting an ocean liner named Dacia. Dacia? I don't know how to pronounce that. D-A-C-I-A. Whoa, CIA. But things are not looking good. The crew was not only facing some rough seas, but like I said, they were on the high seas. The crew was not only facing the rough seas, but some of the men had reporting having nightmares, vivid nightmares. The men have a sense of disorientation when they wake up, and a constant stinging pain all over their body. The commander decides that they are not lying and lets them rest. This commander is an absolute clown shoes. This commander is in an absolute clown shoes. He's like, I decided my crew was not lying, and it's in his perspective too. It's in the whole story is written in first-person perspective. So from the point of view, you read from the captain. It's like, I saw this. I heard the boatswain talk about how he saw the body become animated. You know, things like that. The boatswain Mueller reports of seeing dead corpses of the previous victories floating in the water at night. Even the sailor they threw in the water a few days ago. The command... little delay there, sorry. The commander puts Mueller in chains and whips him. Like I said, the commander is not a nice guy. He puts him in chains and whips him and beats him to keep the morale of the submarine and to show discipline. Setting example to any man who seems to be going mad or seeing bodies in the water. So a few days pass. On June 28th, they decide they missed the vessel of Dacia, you know, which happens in war. Sometimes you don't always get the mission done, which is why war is dumb. The ship is on a current heading south as the men decide to turn around and go back home. So at 5 a.m. on the 4th of July, some of the men went insane, declaring they wanted to surrender to the Yankees, to the Americans. Shout out to the Americans. No, they went. They're all order-following cowards, okay? If they were cool people, they wouldn't have been on the ships at all. They're all a bunch of order-following cowards. They wanted to surrender to the Yankees, to America, to the American ships, because they were lost. They decided that they were lost. So the commander reacts. The commander, I would largely say the commander definitely overreacts. He shoots 6 men on the crew, leaving himself and Lieutenant Clens. Oh yeah, spoilers by the way, I guess. Yeah, spoilers for a book a story that's literally so old it's in public domain. Yeah, by the way. The final 2 soldiers say a few words as they sink to the bottom. Oh, they say few words. I said like, it made it sound like they were at a funeral procession. No, they say few words. They hardly talk to each other as the disabled vessel sinks to the bottom of the ocean. And also the vessel is being followed by a strange group of dolphins. Really bizarre. I mean, another thing, can you imagine? Can you imagine just being in a disabled ship no sound. All you actually barely, since they're underwater, there's probably barely any sound. You might hear like creaking and tink 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 of the vessel, you know. So can you imagine like just looking out the porthole and seeing an army of dolphins, just like hundreds of dolphins just swimming in circles, like in tangent, like just chaotically around the ship, and surrounding the ship to where you can't even like look outward because there's just so many dolphins. And like you don't hear the sound of the dolphins swimming, right? You only hear the silence of the vessel of the two men. That'd be so horrifying, so like supernatural, and it's intense. This story is very intense. They sink to the bottom, followed by a strange group of dolphins. Eventually, Cleanse, which is, there's the commander, and Cleanse is all that's left, the two men. Eventually, Cleanse begins to scream. Oh, and then, yeah, that's another thing. Breaking the silence, this guy just starts screaming at the top of his lungs. He is coming! He is coming! And ranting about, you know, sacrifices and just going, just lost his mind. Deciding he wants to sacrifice himself, Cleanse begins to open up the submarine hatch, and the commander helps him out because you can't open the submarine hatch, like you have to have somebody else. That's the way submarines work. The commander helps him and lets him out, so he lets his comrade just swim out to the ocean. Like, the story is freaking great, like, it's so crazy. I listened to the audiobook while I was falling asleep last night, and I had to shut it off because deciding he wants to sacrifice himself, he opens up the submarine hatch. The commander lets him out. The commander tries in desperation to get one more glimpse of his comrade to see if the depth crushes Cleanse, because again, like they're just sinking. They should be at a depth where the vessel is crushing in on itself, and the dolphin, yeah, the body of the dolphin, like the dolphins should not be sinking at this depth, swimming at this depth. The vessel should just be. The whole team should be crushed by now by the pressure of the water. So he tries to get one more glimpse of his comrade to see if the depth crushes Cleanse, but he cannot see any glimpse of the body through the swimming dolphins. Again, that is so creepy. It is so weird, and like you really don't understand until you put yourself in the position and like reading this story. Read the story. It's 10 out of 10. I promise you, you will not feel like you wasted your time if you read this story. It's so freaking good. I love this story. So all by his lonesome, the commander floating in the boat, as he comes across this ancient city. There's a huge, you know, story's called the Temple. So they're floating underwater in this vessel that is not working. There's barely the battery. The batteries and the lights are running out, so and like he just sees this whole huge city with a temple built in the middle of the city. It mesmerizes him, and he starts to you can tell he even starts to lose his mind. You know, it's like, ooh, it gets wild. It memorizes him as he longs for the ivory statue that Cleanse had in his pocket. So the team find this ivory statue, and even during, before the mutiny, before the guy shot all 6 men, they found this ivory statue, and it's a really creepy ivory statue of a youth wearing a laurel, and each man, like, it's like that's kind of the MacGuffin of the story. The men start to get mesmerized by this ivory statue, and Cleanse even hangs on to it. He's like, I'm not letting it go. But the captain even says to himself, he's like, I really wish I would have pulled that ivory statue off of Cleanse before I let him go into the ocean and just go die. That's really not funny, but jeez. So here's a direct quote. In about 2 hours, the boat rested in a paved plaza close to the rocky wall of the valley. On one side, I could view the entire city as it sloped from the plaza down by the old river bank. On the other side, in startling proximity, I was confronted by the richly ornate and perfectly preserved facade of a great building, evidently a temple, hollowed from solid rock. That was a direct quote from page 97. And that just gives you a little taste. Like, the way that I mean, just in that one paragraph, I can picture a huge, you know, huge ornate marble city that's like just dark, and it's probably, there's not much light. He only has the light of the submarine, the light of the submarine, what is it called? Spotlight. You can move the spotlight around the city, and he's like just mesmerized looking out the window. He's all by himself too, which is not, isolation like that does not help sanity in any capacity, like whatsoever. So he's starting to lose it, but he sees the city. Eventually he musters up the courage to take a diving suit, and he leaves the vessel, which is basically where the story ends. He walks out, he leaves the vessel, and he stops at the stair set of the temple, and I think pretty sure that's where the story ends. So not too long of a book review because it's pretty short. It's a short story. So that's about where my notes end. My only notes that I have left is study natural law. Don't become an order-following coward, because if you do become an order-following coward, you might end up in the same position as these guys. And trust me, I don't think anybody wants to be sunken in a submarine below the depth to where the pressure should kill the submarine, and then you got a school of dolphins creepily just lurking around your... read the story, don't become an order-following coward, study natural law, do the right thing because it's the right thing to do, and I'm especially talking to you YouTubers who just record, you know, homeless people and then give them food and stuff. Like, do the right thing because it's the right thing to do. Don't do the right thing because you're making a YouTube channel and blah, 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 blah. Also, Sound Path to Freedom. Again, shout out to Sound Path to Freedom. It was a beautiful event. As somebody who wasn't able to be in Philadelphia personally, it was a beautiful event. The quality was freaking 10 out of... The quality of the live stream was phenomenal. When the event started, I think on day 1 or 2, no, day 3 on Sunday when the event started, the live stream did start off kind of rocky, but they figured out the sound, they got it all dialed in, and they had some, man, just chef's kiss. They had some legends working on that Sound Path to Freedom Music Festival. The live stream was HD, the sound was phenomenal. By the time Presence got on stage, it was just such a good time. The energy was just fantastic. I was playing Sea of Thieves the whole time because it was community weekend on Sea of Thieves. Oh yeah, and speaking of, you have no excuse for this story anymore. I am going to, at the time of this recording, I have recorded my own personal audiobook of this story using the Sea of Thieves. So I'm going to find a cool location on Sea of Thieves before this book review comes out, and I'm going to read the entire story to you guys. Because it's a short story, it'll only be like an hour. Somewheres on the high seas in the Sea of Thieves, I'm going to record the entire story, so that way you have the audiobook. And there's also multiple versions of the audiobook on YouTube. So for this story, you literally have no excuse. There is no excuse, public domain. You can download this story, download the PDF, absolutely free. You can read it on the bus when you're going to work. I mean, there's no excuse. There's no... Oh, wait, what am I turning that off for? No excuse. Read the book. Read the story. I'm gonna close out with Squared Off playing because freaking Squared Off is epic. So yeah, stay tuned, stay gold, and we'll be back. Oh wait, the next book review. That one's accomplished. Until next year, H.P.Lovecraft. The next book review is The Book That Changed My Life by Chris Jansen. Chris Jansen was also at the Sound Path to Freedom Music Festival. I'm very excited. You can get this book. It just came out this year, right? It just came out like last month. Actually, no, at the time of this recording. It came out about 2 months ago. Chris Jansen signed it. He gave me an encouraging little message. I can't wait to talk about it in the book review. That's going to be the book review for November. And then November has a very special bonus round of a book, and I have to order it immediately before I forget. And but I do have to take Squirt Dog to the vet tomorrow. It's just a little checkup. He needs a little checkup, and the vet's going to take most of the money that I have left. So hopefully this new job will hire me immediately for the interview Wednesday. Stay tuned, stay gold. I'm out of here.